protesters' demands and justice for the victims of police brutality. This is Plus Politics, and I am Mary Anna Cole. It's been a year since the Lekki toll shooting, a moment that came from the historic NSAS protest. It was triggered by the excesses of Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SAS, the now disbanded police tactical unit notorious for cruelty against crime suspects. Although SAS activities included unlawful arrest, torture, and extrajudicial killings, the protest became a platform to demand government's decisive actions against insecurity, corruption, economic woes, general maladministration, and the lack of opportunities for the youth. To break all of these down, we have with us journalists Imo Edet and Jonathan Abang. Also, we have our correspondent from PlusTvAfrica, Destiny. Destiny, thank you very much for joining us anymore. Jonathan, thank you all for joining us. We're starting these segments with you because, you are the fourth estate of the realm, and you're going to give us all the reports that you've gotten from today and, of course, last year. But I'll start with Destiny. Destiny Momo is our in-house correspondent. She was at the Lekki toll early this morning, down to the afternoon when the police decided to, tear gas those who were at the toll gate. But Destiny, give us just a basic, view of what you saw while you were covering the protest today.
When I got to the toll gates, the number of protesters I saw, I was shocked because I thought that because of what happened last year, people were not going to come out as much. But I was amazed when I got there. The lawyer to the protesters actually came and said that it was time for them to leave. I'm sure he was perceiving, some people that were there on that night of the shootout. And then I was getting so emotional when they were pouring out their hearts of what happened. But I never knew that I was going to experience something of that sort myself. So I was shocked that I was actually hearing these gunshots. Because there were lots of security operatives around. These gunshots, I don't know whether it was gunshots or tear gas, but at the end of the day, all I felt was peppery sensation in my eyes, coming straight into my throat, my nose. I was just feeling this all-around peppery sensation, and I was...
That were covering the event. Was there any unrest of sorts, or did you see people who looked like they were agitators or trying to, disrupt the protests? Could that have been the reason why the police did what they did?
Because we were pouring out their anguish, their pain, I'm sure it was like maybe because of the pain of what happened last year. And earlier before I got there, some arrests were already made. But then they foresaw that the protest was going to be hijacked. And then they had to disperse protesters using that method. That's what I perceived. Because people were practically running. I was running. I had to go, I had to pass through a barbed wire into the waterways. And this part was really narrow. And you can see my size on the big side. I had to squeeze myself. I practically swam inside the sand just to save my life. I was gasping for breath.
Interesting. We did, before this protest even happened, we of course had the CP when he had tried to dissuade Lagosians from coming out to protest. But then we saw a man who other people...
Yeah, Miriam, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, then, like I told you, he wasn't the only one that was inside the Black Maria.
I think we lost connection.
Earlier before I got there, arrests were already made. You could hear people shouting that they were just passing, that they didn't do anything, that they were just passing, that they didn't do anything, just giving their reasons. But at the end of the day, protesters were busy shouting that, people that were arrested same time last year, exactly a year ago, people that were just passerby, people going to their different places of work or coming back were arrested, and up until now, they are still inside the police cell.
All right, let me go to Jonathan. Jonathan, you obviously are in the media, you write, gathered today. Does it
see, a privileged Nigerian who occupies the position of Minister for Information? Because what he wrote today, honestly, I don't think I'm in the right frame of mind to call out his name. It will only help stupefy me the most. It's from Lagos to Abuja and across the country. What we basically saw the police and other law enforcement agencies do is the same thing they have been doing over enforcement agencies in Nigeria. Now, some people will ask, okay, where's the statistics for this? These things are not reported in the media and what have you. But if you hear a case of 1 today, 2 tomorrow, 3 tomorrow, you'll never get to really know that, okay, over time these things happen. And in Cross River, there was no protest, but what happened was even much more silly. We have fired tear gas at 60, 70, 80-year-old women. So while the NSAS memorial protest did not happen across the country as many people would have expected, but we still saw brutality from law enforcement agency go on. And besides, you look at the so-called judicial panels of inquiry into police brutality. I don't think it's fit to be that.
Mr. Lai Mohammed.
Yeah. Whatsoever his name is, I don't care right now. He's a privileged Nigerian, that I know, to be occupying that office. He abused that office today, and apart from what he said from the preliminary report from the panel of inquiry in Lagos State, no one else got to note it. So clearly, it supports a stance of some of us that look at the end of the day, these things will just they were just what do you call it? Strategies to ensure that they take us all around and nothing positive comes out of it.
I'm going to quickly toss to Imo. Imo is a broadcast journalist with the West African Democratic Radio in Dakar, Senegal. He's a Nigerian, obviously, and I know how very interested, and some people will say it's a form of intimidation. And
I think this may have played a role in we not seeing the crowd that we had envisaged, but we did that. Who came and in order to avoid trouble, they are meant to protect. It's for their own benefit, but for the fact that this thing has transpired for 1 year now, and you still can't understand that these guys can come out to rally or do whatever they want to do, with you giving them the support instead of the harassment that we saw today, the intimidation that we saw today. I think it's appalling, especially when you have the international communities, listening, watching, getting what is going on in Nigeria. It paints a very bad image for the force. And I must say that the current IG isn't really doing anything. And this is even when I know people don't resign easily in Nigeria, but I would say this would have been, that point. He would say, look, I am tired. I'm not doing it anymore. If this reform is not working, so let it be. For me, he should put in the pen and move away and let them get somebody who can make sure that the reform works. Now, part of what we asked you this morning.
As journalist with the West African Democratic Radio in Dakar, Senegal, Jonathan is of the Cross River Watch. He is a print journalist, and Destiny Momo is our in-house correspondent here with PlusTvAfrica. Thank you, gentlemen. We have to go. We have a long list of people to talk with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, more on the NSAS remembrance and whether justice will take its course. Stay with us.
My skin. For it could be a runabout, I'll start saying it. Agidim boys, they know me very well for Femi Kuti Shrine. Nobody don't know my history. Everybody know my history for Femi Kuti Shrine. As I'm talking to you now, right now, I'm not happy when my friend died. They pursue all of us. It happened NSAS. NSAS protest when they think happen for Agidigbi. It could be runabout. It could be a runabout. I can never forget it. My demand now, this is our government. We need peace. We need peace. The suffering is too much. Yes, they're suffering too much. They're suffering too much. They're suffering too much.
Do you know that after 1 year, there are still over 300 protesters in prison? Now, I'm calling them protesters, but all of them are not even protesters. Some of them were just bystanders. Some of them were just going to work. And after a year, they are still in prison. But after a year, not one police officer has been put to book. Not one soldier has been put to book. What we want now is our 300 people to be released now. I saw them with my 2 eyes. Enough is enough. If the government wants peace, they will give the people peace. My name is Komedewai from the Take It Back movement.
I go say the government, as them be, they should just take it easy because we don't wake up. We Sorosoke generation, we don't wake up. Make them just do the needful.
So the lawyer is on the. In fact, we are better than.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m.
On the button, I send my children to school.
The NSAS protest, we're being joined by legal practitioners who have been transpired today. Can you hear me? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not surprised that 1 year after no attempt had been made or no serious effort had been made to reform the police, to challenge the rights of citizens to gather peacefully and express themselves. It is because the police still remains that lawless institution of state, that repressive institution of state. For me, the danger ahead must be taking cognizance of because
I woke up to this morning, which for some people is heartbreaking. I'd like to read directly. The Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed, did say, and I'd like to quote, as the nation marks 1 year of NSAS today, he insisted that the claimed massacre during the NSAS protest at the Lekki toll was a phantom. And that's exactly what he said. He said this during a press briefing in Abuja this morning, of course. He said that the reason why this is making news is because of the media. He's saying, he's accusing the media and even foreign media for making all of this up. Get soldiers to come to the toll gate, shoot at people, and then maybe make it all up and turn off the lights at the toll gate. And then some people end up dying and some people end up losing body parts. So help me make sense of it. If it was a phantom, we could make a great movie out of what happened at that toll gate if none of it was true. Couldn't we?
You know, I particularly like your usage of the word movie. Failure of the Buhari regime. Propaganda agent of state of the Buhari regime to tell us what happened and what didn't happen. The facts speaks for themselves. Like we lawyers will say, res ipsa loquitur. So for me, there was nothing like a phantom massacre. There was actually a massacre because people were killed, people were attacked, people had their limbs, people destroyed, some people have been amputated. In fact, today I was watching videos of some of the victims of the Lekki toll gate, including a mother who was weeping. Today on TV, to Lai Mohammed, whether victims have come out or not. But what we must bear in mind is that when of the army on that day, that they had live rounds. Evidence that seen the image, that people were killed at the toll gate. But why should we bother about the opinion of Lai Mohammed? They have lied about everything, from the state of the economy, to the state of insecurity in the country, to the war against corruption, the war against insurgency. There is hardly anything about this regime that one can see truth stated in its clear form.
Okay.
So, as regards the NSAS protest or the anniversary of the NSAS, is it not amusing that you still have this man coming out after 1 year to still say the same line of distraction, the same tissues of lies to distract Nigerians from the tragedy that happened?
It's interesting. Bernard, you seem to be the NBA lead counsel at that Lagos panel. So you were there every single day. You saw the people who came to testify. I remember one of the videos that continues to live rent-free in my head is that man who was amputated that showed up at the panel and accused the police of doing this to him. But if Mr. Lai Mohammed is insisting that this didn't happen, we have a panel that sat.
Yeah, I think the learned gentleman and Minister for Communication, with all due respect, I would borrow the word of my learned friend, seem to be living in an imaginative planet. The proceedings at the Lagos NSAS panel has been concluded. We did conclude proceedings on Monday, which was the 18th, if I'm correct. And of which we already know the answer, because we saw Nigerians who came up. They were being treated in hospitals. The chief medical director, the director of Verdict Life Care was there. Most of the hospitals around the Lekki corridor, their CMD were at the panel. The chief pathologist of Lagos State was at the panel to say that during the period of the NSAS, over 90 bodies were picked across Lagos. Of course, I know as a government official, he's too scared to say it was at the Lekki toll. Let's be very frank. Across Lagos. But let us agree that it is across Lagos. Now, the government is supposed to set up a coroner's inquest also. Let us know exactly what locations were those and what nature of injuries do we have on those bodies? Are there bullet shots? Are there stab injuries? These are all people.
Do we see that happen? Killed by policemen. The father who had to go to a particular place that it was like a lake of dead bodies to take his own son from it because he was dumped there after he was tortured by the police. Are they ever going to get justice?
You see, that's the reason why it's important that a panel of inquiry that is made up of people like you and I, citizens, Nigerians, Lagosians, was set up by the Lagos State government. And the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will have the political will to implement that report to the letter.
Well, that's the big question, Mark, and that's the big question every Nigerian is wondering if the answer will be, forthcoming. But I want to thank you, gentlemen. We have very limited time. We have to take a quick break in Iberefiong, and of course, Nigeria. We'll be right back. Events from the NSAS movement 1 year later. We're being joined by international relations expert Michael Nketia from Ghana and, of course, social entrepreneur Kofo Kego. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you, Anne, and thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, Michael, I have had a conversation with you about how the world perceives Nigeria's handling of this issue of, NSAS and young people protesting against police brutality and bad governance. Now, there was some form of police harassment and malhandling. The main reason why that protest even happened in the first instance. I'd like to ask you what exactly you see looking from the outside in, and of course how the police and government is dealing with this issue.
Well, first, to begin with, I must say that for those of us in Ghana and other parts of the continent, it came as a shock, and the government in general, to cover up the massacre. Initially, there were attempts to deny that people were even shot in the first place. There was an initial denial. Then later it was accepted that yes, people were shot, but no one was killed. But later on we found out that people were actually killed. And another shocking aspect is that one major medium through which people started spreading the images and videos during the protest, which is Twitter, social media, was banned in Nigeria till date. And if you deny people the platform, the opportunity to pour out their anger, their frustrations, if you deny them the basic platform to do that, at the end of the day, the people will resort to violent agitations to demand for their rights. I believe that it would have served the Nigerian government better if it had allowed Twitter to operate in Nigeria so that daily the youth can vent their spleen, they can come out with their frustrations, the youth can have a platform to communicate, to disperse the crowd. And I was asking myself, as the Nigerian government, including findings with regards to happenings during the Lekki toll gate, I know there was a fact-finding committee that was established to look into the whole brouhaha. But to date, we've not had any published finding. No police officer, no military man has been found, interdicted for the massacre that happened at the toll booth. And it is quite strange that the government will subject its very citizens to all these forms of cruel harassments, all in the name of demanding for better policing reforms. And I believe the onus lies with the Nigerian government to do the right thing currently.
Kofo, you're a Nigerian in diaspora. You're joining us from the UK, and we saw you and many other Nigerians protesting last year, in solidarity with Nigerians within Nigeria who seem to be feeling the pinch more than you. A lot of people were asking why Nigerians in diaspora were even bothered, knowing that, you know, some people would say they've survived, you know, and run away from the kind of brutality that Nigerians are facing here. But that's an aside. Why did you even in the first instance think that it was necessary to go on this protest? And here we are today, 1 year later, you're on TV talking about it. Do you think that they seem to be hearing us, or they just choose not to?
Thank you so much for having me this evening, you see. I agree with most of the things Michael has said, you see. I think as a diasporan, I'm a Nigerian wherever I find myself. If I go to the UK, if I go to America, if I go to Canada, I am a Nigerian. And they wouldn't treat me as an individual. They would treat me as a collective. I'll be treated as a Nigerian wherever I present my passport. Even if I present a British passport, my name says Kofo. And I am all Nigerian, you see. So when Nigeria becomes better, it works for every single person. Whether you are living in the UK or you're living in Nigeria, we all want to see a better Nigeria. We all want to come home and want to add to the economy of Nigeria. We all want to build the nation together. So if a brother of mine is suffering in the hands of the police, or a structure or a system is working against them, it is affecting me also. Because one of the things I teach is we need to go from this individualistic mentality to a communal mentality where we work as a group, as a people, as a collective. With the government, I don't know if the government is hearing us. I don't think they're paying attention to us. I think they're thinking of the 2023 election. I think they think it's the same thing they've always done. They always do, you know, find a few young people, you know, give them money, give them Range Rover, give them scholarship in top universities, and think all is going to be over. But I think something has changed. And let me just ask this. I see a lot of people stop me on the road and say, oh, what did you achieve with NSAS? What did you achieve with the movement? You guys just wasted your time. You wasted your money. You wasted your effort. I even had the same conversation with my barber today. And I said to him, I don't think we wasted our time, money, or effort, but I think something...
So supposedly a spokesperson for Mr. President has come out to say that this whole thing that we're talking about is a phantom. So really, has anything changed?
You know, the dishonorable Minister of Misinformation, Lai Mohammed, the Honorable Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, I think his words are suspect. I think we need to pay attention to it. But we, the people, we know something has changed. The media or the information or the narrative can be passed. Something about change is a process, and process takes time, you see. But something has changed. People are waking up gradually. Gradually. And this is why we need to keep speaking and doing the things we're doing.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, gentlemen, but thank you so much. What a way to end this conversation. Michael Nketia is an international PR expert, I beg your pardon. He's a political, international relations and political analyst. He's joining us from Ghana. And Kofo Kego is a social entrepreneur, and he joined us from the United Kingdom. Thank you very much. And utterly disappointed that this nation that you call ours, you and I call our own, has come to this. We ask that, you know, a group of policemen stop being almost forgetting that they also aren't left out of this oppression. You see, that's the irony of things. We're all on the receiving end of this bad leadership. Whether you are in uniform or not, whether you carry a gun or a pen or a flag, we all are the victims here. Now, until the police and all Nigerians realize that we need to band together to rid this nation of these corrupt and irresponsible politicians, we will continue to wallow in poverty and pain and even more grief. But I'll end this by saying, we haven't forgotten. We will never forget. The blood of the slain is crying out for justice, and justice they will get. So I'll say, let's end SARS, let's end bad governance, and make Nigeria great again. I am Mary Anacone. Have a good evening.